Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Gunnerstown pub. And as we invited you, Mike dropped out. Mike was one of the guests. He doesn't seem to be anymore. And we're also joined by Gav from She War and
How you doing?
Mark. Hey, Gav.
All right, Paul.
Mark.
All right, mate.
It's nice to have you guys. I'm sure you're thrilled to be here, Mike. Are you going to stick with us for longer than 2 seconds?
Yeah, sorry, don't know what happened there.
No worries. No worries. Yeah, so that wasn't the most scintillating 99 minutes spent watching Arsenal. It was actually pretty shitty. But what I'd like to do is start with a hot take. So I'm just going to go through all of you just to give me your general impression about the game and how you think it went. Mark, let's start with you. What did you think? What's your hot take?
I'll tell you what my hot take is. My hot take is that unless we play basically the top sort of 12, 13 players that we've got in the Europa League, every single Europa League game going forward now, we're not going to win this competition. Because if you then have to try and rely on some of the other players we've got, basically it knocks us, because one, they're just simply not up to it, and two, it just knocks the entire team's rhythm out of kilter, and it just causes us too many issues. So I think he's really got to think now. Sod trying to make too many changes for a second leg, even though we were 3-1 up and at home. It still turned out to be much harder than it should have been. So my hot take is he's going to need to just pick his best team and stick with that team for every single Europa League game now and not mess about.
Fair enough. Gav?
I guess the first half was what it was. It was 0-0. As long as it was 0-0, I was quite happy, to be honest with you. It was one of those, almost I wouldn't have cared if it had finished 0-0 and the second half would have been as boring as the first half, because we're through. But I guess I was very, very disappointed with the fact that we had at least 6 good chances, clear-cut chances, and none were put away. So that's what I'm a little bit more annoyed about than anything else, if I'm being honest.
Okay, fair enough. Mike, did you have anything to add to those?
Yeah, I think Arsenal have got an issue with stress management, haven't they? And considering the crowd is not there, we can play so calmly as we did probably in the first half. But when something looks like it's going wrong, and I don't know if it's because they can hear their coach and that's the voice that really matters to them rather than the 60,000 people at the Emirates getting. But that's a pattern that I think Arsenal have got to somehow kill, is the stress management. And it's the senior players again. It's the party when he came on, just making some really strange decisions. And defenders, David Luiz, and I think it's Hector Bellerin, panicking where in the first half they could calmly just get the ball down and play it out of the back and just send necessary balls. And I think it's the body language, and so I think that the senior players have to really de-stress the atmosphere with their actions rather than just their words and telling everybody to calm down. I think that they need to calm down themselves and play with a little more composure when the atmosphere gets stressful, because I'm a little nervous what's going to happen when the crowd shows up.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think my hot take was, I felt like we came there kind of expecting that we'd done the job already and that we were going to cruise through. And thankfully for us, Olympiacos in the first half were pretty shit, and so they didn't, put us under much pressure. I think they had, one opportunity, and Leno made a fairly decent save. But so the first half was really boring, and the second half came out and we were still shit, but they decided that they were going to give us a bit more of a runaround. And it's typical Arsenal. We went one down and suddenly you think, it's 3-2. And then the nerves started creeping in, and I felt that kind of clown car unraveling just randomly just starts to happen around 70 minutes, and the players just cover themselves and just making, like Mike said, the worst decisions. and it just put us in, in a situation that we didn't have to be. I think we could have easily have won that game 2 or 3-1, but we didn't, and so we made it more difficult. But we're through, so hey. Was there any highlight that you want to point out, Mark? Was there anything in the game that you felt was worth mentioning?
It's not the best of games to try and pick out highlights from, is it? To be fair, because there was very few to get excited about. I thought Leno's save. I don't know, whether you want to talk about that chance we gave them in the first half, which was really quite bizarre. That when the keeper's got the ball on the floor, we've decided to defend from the halfway line, and he's made a pretty good save, because if they'd gone 1-0 up with sort of an hour to go, we were nervous enough in the second half, but if they'd 1-0 up with an hour to go, we might have been even worse. So I think it was good that he made a save there. It was a good save as well. I don't know how that guy comes to haunt us, the one who scored all these goals against us. I don't want to ever see him.
We're going to end up buying him, aren't we?
Oh dear God! Just to never have to play against him.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than that, I thought it was a really, really shocking performance from more or less the entire team.
Do you have any highlights that stuck out for you? If you had to dig into that and give an award for best anything, I don't know. Do you still like the way Tierney tucks his shirt in? Is that?
I actually got a bit of pleasure out of seeing that their fella that got sent off. The highlight for me tonight really was watching him standing on the sidelines crying, and I thought that. Like I say, I don't, what a stupid thing to get sent off for, but yeah, it put a smile on my face. Unfortunately or not, I like seeing stuff like that.
and you, Mike, you Mr. Positive. There must be something.
Yeah, there is. Of course, I've got my list because I'm going to be writing about it. So
okay, this will be good.
Well, I'm not going to give you the whole list. I'm not going to bore everybody, but I will say the whole night might be in about half an hour when we get knocked out here. So there is extra time. But beyond that, I'll tell you what I did like. I like the way that the coach set us up in the first half. The angles of approach that the forwards and the midfielders took up to not let Olympiacos out. And for the first half an hour, they were really struggling to form any sort of attack, because whenever we were pressing high, it was the angles of approach that really blocked their passing lanes. And I noticed that. And the other thing is, I don't know if you guys noticed in the first half, Pepe and Aubameyang were playing split strikers. Aubameyang was on the left, wasn't he? And Pepe was on the right. And Tobias was almost like a false nine. And I think that's because Olympiacos their exit routes are normally down the wings. We blocked it all up there. And so just kudos to Arteta in the midst of the meh and the disappointment of losing. I think that, he did what he needed to do as far as coaching is concerned, and made it as difficult as possible. And yet again, the players make it more complicated for him and us, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. I'm just watching the comments come in. Everybody's pointing out that Martinelli was a highlight, and for me, just to see him come on, I thought was kind of cool. And he had that energy again. Unfortunately, he joined in at a point when Aubameyang couldn't really be asked. And to be honest, most of the game, Aubameyang kind of looked like he couldn't really be asked. So there were some moments shared between them that didn't seem too positive. But Martinelli is always good to see. So I'm going to just steal what all the commenters are saying and make that my highlight. Lowlights, we've mentioned a couple of them. Is there anything in particular? Let's go in reverse order this time. Mike? Any lowlights? Anything that you'd like not to see again?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the big concern for me is Aubameyang moving forward, because he's a good time player. And I know his finishing could have been a little better tonight, as could a few, but that's not so much my concern. It's just, we needed him on so many occasions tonight to step up physically and hold the ball up, and when the ball was near, at least contest. But he was just, again, like a limp fish. And so, you could say that he didn't show up tonight or he's in a bad mood. I don't really see it that way. That's just how he plays. And he may not be changed, and maybe the club aren't interested in that either, because they want to keep him fit and don't want him to get involved in physical confrontation. But there were so many opportunities tonight where he had physical he could have done, and he copped out. And so it's more not so much disappointment with him, because that's just how he plays. But the club have to fix that. They have to find a way for us to be able to hold the ball up and have a centre forward that's got some form of physical desire. Yeah, desire. I mean, you could stick a little 5'2" guy out there and he would have more physical presence because he would care more. And then there's the contrast the guys are talking about, and they're dead right. Because, so I think subconsciously, he did about one or two things, which isn't much and nothing outstanding, to have so much faith in him, because he gives absolutely everything that he has to give, physically, emotionally, technically, tactically. And I think that we just see that in him. And then you look at the comparison with Aubameyang, who gives half of what he's got to give, but he does that every single game and hides that often with goals. So that's my concern.
Mm-hmm. Gav, your low light.
It's Aubameyang. I thought he was dreadful. At one point, like I say, in my little group chat, someone said we should sub him onto the pitch now, because there was like long spells of the game where he was just completely not there, just completely not in the game at all. And I don't mind that. If when he's getting I don't mind any centre forward who looks like he's not on the pitch and looks like he's not doing a job, as long as when they get the chances, they're putting them in the back of the net. And that's why he's getting the big money. He's getting the big money because he puts the ball in the net. And tonight was just a complete and utter failure from him to put the ball in the net. He had 2 or 3 good chances and spooned them all. Absolutely spooned them all. So, I mean, you can have a bad day, you can have an off day, but I just thought his overall gameplay was terrible. The way he got involved in the game was non-existent, and he missed his chances. So, he's got to be very, very disappointed with himself. And
can I just add on to that as well? Can I add that the strangest thing he did tonight, because all that I said I didn't think was strange, it's just it happens all the time, and I agree with Gav. But the strangest thing he did is that one-on-one in the last 5 or 10 minutes. He was 10 yards clear of the defender, and he kept the ball on his left foot. That was lazy. He's 2-footed to a certain extent, but he's far more right foot dominated. And he had so much time to shift the ball to his favourite foot. That was just a really lazy, odd decision.
Well, that's just the basic thing, mate. If you are in front and you're heading on goal, you get to the middle of the goal, because it means the angles the keeper's got to cover is greater than if you're to one side of the goal. So, and again, even if the defender's breathing down your neck, you cut across him into the middle, because if he touches you, it's a red card and he's off. So it was just, I don't know what he was playing at. I honestly don't know what he was playing at there. It was just sloppy, lackadaisical, and it was almost like he didn't care. To be honest with you, if he cared, he would have scored that.
Right. Mark, do you have anything different, or do you want to add pile on to Aubameyang?
Yeah, let's pile on to it now. I have got something different, but I think it does. There was a conversation I was having on Twitter with someone in the middle of the game about whether or not Aubameyang is the centre forward to take forward in the way Arteta wants to play, and I think Mike talks about that a lot, and I think that's a big discussion, particularly with the fact that he's got the new big contract and that, so it'll be interesting to see. Because you particularly when he's captain as well, you're expecting more from him. And Mike's right, that last break he had, for him not to be able to have got that ball onto his right foot sooner was just, he didn't even bother doing it at all. Was just bizarre for a player of his talent. My low light was coming out for the second half. You come out for the say you haven't played particularly well first half, but it's nice and tight. The game's going nowhere. They've showed no real desire. But then, maybe that was their idea. Maybe they did a George Graham and they said, all right, look, keep it tight till till half time. Let's not concede, and then we'll come out and we'll have a real go second half. So you're kind of expecting that they're going to do that.
Yeah,
and we come out and who's Zagreb?
Yeah,
getting. So, but we come out for the second half and we were really, really poor. Our attitude was poor. We gave them 3 chances in the first 4 minutes, and then the goal, they ended up with we lost the ball 70 yards up the pitch. Ceballos lost that ball, and he shouldn't be fanning around trying to trick. But if he can't try it 70 yards away, I don't know where he can. But they break, and they're 4-on-4. They're 4-on-4 breaking. And I just don't understand how you come out from half time with your manager having 15 minutes to get you in the right frame of mind, that you come out and you play that poorly for the first sort of 10, 15 minutes of the second half. So that pissed me off.
I can understand it, understandably. In fact, there were quite a few times when they just seemed much more up for it. They'd had 5-on-3. That 4-on-3, like that 4-on-4 in that position. There were lots of times that they turned it around, and we had that situation where our centre backs, both Luis and Gabriel, were guilty of diving in quite high up the pitch and then exposing the other person behind. The keeper put a couple of good balls over the top, and we just looked fragile. I think part of it is that I've noticed, as we all have, is that there's a tendency among, especially our midfield and our forwards, to let the ball bounce because they're just terrified of heading it. But even in defence today, it seemed like there were quite a few times that, just that you've got a long time to get to underneath the ball and head it out, and there was just this kind of faffing around. It just seemed everyone was on Valium or something. It was not convincing. Yeah, my low light, I think, had to be that somehow this team just didn't seem up for it, and it's been a long time. It's been quite a long time since we saw that kind of not arriving Arsenal. That used to be a thing of the past, but haven't seen that for a while. The next thing that I had to talk about, I don't think we're ready for man of the match, but let me go through some of the comments, because there have been a few, and a lot of them have agreed with what we're saying. Mostly the feeling is that Aubameyang was shit. He's saying that he should be stripped as captain, and the captaincy should be given to Tierney. I'm up for that. I think Tierney always puts in a shift, and he seems to be one of the consistent guys who's up for it. Oba's work rate and ability in front of goal was shocking. £350,000 a week. What a joke. Still, we're through, and on a funnier note, Zagreb have taken the Spuds into extra time. Gav, you're going to have to update us on that.
That's 3-2 at the moment. I'm on 1 minute. It's 109 minutes, so it's 4 minutes into the second half of extra time.
11 minutes to go. And here's a good question, I think, worth discussing. Is a fit Martinelli not the perfect runner to complement Smith Rowe, Saka, and Odegaard? Mike, what do you think? What do you think about that?
Well, the sample size this season is minute, isn't it? But honestly, he's got to be part of the mix. He offers almost everything you want, and it's just this big ball of potential, isn't it? Of course, security comes when you drop your top 2 scorers in the team, which I'm assuming Aubameyang and Lacazette are, and you put a guy in who's got everything you want and need, but hasn't got that stability of goals that you need. So it's a huge call. I would love to see it. And the other thing is, let's be honest about the transfer window. If we're going to look to sign a centre forward in the summer, I think we need to take a look at him, and maybe even Balogun as well, because there's a chance that one of those 2 guys could be the future for Arsenal. Just like Erling Braut Haaland is rocking it at a similar age, there's every chance that Martinelli is the man, and we could save ourselves 30 to 50 minutes. So we need to have a look. We need to have a look at him. To me, at centre forward.
Do you think maybe it's not the right time in the season with so much relying on us getting through? You think it's too big a chance to take, obviously, with the 7 or 17 possible games you've got left, 10 in the Premier League, 6 or 7 if we get to the final. can Arteta afford to make those kind of?
Well, yeah, he can, but you just do it subtly, don't you? And you let the player prove to the other squad members that he's worthy. So rather than just drop Aubameyang per se, you put Martinelli in for maybe half an hour the next game, and then maybe you play him, you start him in one of these games as a rotational player, and you use rotation as an excuse because that's a modern thing that you can comfortably use. And then all of a sudden he scored a couple of goals, and then the fact that you start him in the next game is based on his form and the lack of form of the others, rather than putting the heavy foot down on Aubameyang and Lacazette. So there's that way of doing it.
Right. Mark, before he was substituted, Ceballos was pretty average. I felt that we missed this Saka's energy. I feel like Pepe on the right is a dead end. Those are the couple of other people mentioned in that comment. How did you feel about that? Those two in particular, Pepe and Ceballos. And
well, I think you look at Pepe tonight, and he's been given a chance, and he's not really taken it. There was the opportunity which he did well, a bit lucky, get the rebound off the keeper, and I don't understand how he can't see Aubameyang and just lay the ball across to him rather than him trying to go through the defender for a shot on goal. And then there was another chance that he had. Where he took a really poor touch. I just thought tonight, it didn't work for him. He doesn't always, he doesn't play very well when he's playing with Bellerin behind him. He plays better when he's got Cedric behind him, because Bellerin wants to come inside and get in his space all the time. So that probably doesn't help him. But Pepe had a chance, and he's he hasn't really taken it. So people will be berating him again. Ceballos, He played some really nice balls in the first half. Felt sorry for him because he was one of the ones who was playing some decent balls. He set up Aubameyang for the best, the second best chance of the game as it turned out, which he inexplicably blazed over. I really can't understand how he's missed that one.
He rushed
even more so than the one late in the game. I just don't get how he hasn't had more calm and chill and slotted that one. But, that was down to Ceballos. Ceballos' ball through to Pepe for the one I just mentioned. But again, I just think he's not going to be the answer. And I think, him going back to Real Madrid is odds on. I do not think that we will be looking to take him permanently or on a third loan, particularly with the fact that Ødegaard's come in and has shown what we really need from somebody in that position. Ødegaard is head and shoulders above Ceballos in just even a short time that he's been here. So, I think they both had a chance tonight, and neither of them have really done much to advance their cause.
Right.
Can I ask a question, Paul, about Ødegaard?
Sorry, what?
Yeah, I've got a quick question about Ødegaard.
Go for it. Yeah.
The more I watch Ødegaard, and I love him as the attacking midfielder, he's doing great. But he's so technically secure. I wonder if you could move him back into central midfield, move Smith Rowe back into attacking midfield, and then you've got Martinelli on the left with Aubameyang at centre forward.
Gav, what do you think of that? Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's fine. Go on, Gav.
Yeah,
if you finish slurping your drink, mate.
I got caught there. Yeah. I don't know. I think that might be an option for him in maybe 3, 4, 5 years' time. But he's one. I don't really want him to be. I don't want him to be in that position. If I'm being honest, I want Ødegaard to be as high up top as possible. I want him to be getting more ball earlier possible, and I want him to have the ball around the edge of the opposition's penalty area. I don't really want to see him doing the hard graft. If I'm being honest, But you are right though, Mike. That Arteta has got to find a way really of fitting in Smith Rowe, Ødegaard, and Saka all in the starting lineup, and the missing ingredient, unfortunately, is a combative, goal-scoring striker. That's the missing ingredient to fit in them three in.
Basically, the North London derby, but with somebody better than Lacazette, because that's basically what we had, right?
Mm-hmm. which worked. And like I say, it would not bother me in the slightest to see Lacazette starting the rest of the season in the number 9 sort of role. It would not bother me in the slightest. I think he offers more throughout the team. Is he as a clinical goal scorer as Aubameyang? Probably not. But then I think my grandma would have scored a couple tonight, if I'm being honest. Do you know what I mean?
I made a few notes, during the game, and there was quite a few comments about Aubameyang put through, but he blasted it over. Aubameyang finds Pepe on the break, but his touch is lousy. Aubameyang, shit chip. Aubameyang, it's just like it keeps going. In fact, everybody tonight just didn't seem to just. I guess the people that for me that were kind of half decent was Xhaka. Louise was fairly decent. I thought Tierney was okay, but even Smith Rowe, Elneny just. I think it was Yankee Gunner that said that there's nothing like giving Elneny the ball and asking him to advance it to see the weakness in his game. Which I think is quite a fair comment. I was glad to see him come off, and I thought that when Arteta made those subs, I thought that we looked a little bit more up for it, particularly with those two. I think that that was a decent. They were decent substitutions. I don't know. There's not a lot.
It's one of those. I think we spoke about it before. The players know who they want, who the best players are on the pitch, and they know who they want on the pitch. So when Arteta did do the double substitution, it gave everybody a lift. It was almost like the cavalry are coming. Do you know what I mean? It was almost like to that. It was what it was. I mean, Arteta saved a few legs for the weekend. He saved Saka for the weekend.
Yeah.
If Saka's got any legs left, because they're trying to run them off him. And like I say, it was a little bit shaky for a bit in the second half, but we got through because we done well at the Europa League. So we're through. We've beaten Tottenham recently. Everything's to smile about, really.
That's true. We can look on the bright side of things. Okay, so we're going to accelerate through this, and if you had a man of the match, Mark, who would that be? It's a tough question.
It's a tough question. Not which is only says everything about a performance. I think it would be Ødegaard, to be fair, because I think when of the subs that were made, Ødegaard coming on made a big difference. I think I'm not sure that Partey contributed much more than Elneny had, to be perfectly honest. It certainly gave away more free kicks than we needed him to give away, much as he did on Sunday as well. So I think that's something he's going to have to learn about playing in the Premier League and in Europe. That stop giving away free kicks. But I thought Ødegaard did well when he came on. He pulled us up upfield about another 15, 20 yards, and he's always got some skill in him. Technically, he's a fantastic player. So disappointed that when he had that chance, he did a great feint to come inside on his left and then snatched at it and knocked it over. If he'd have got that, it would have been a great goal to cap him coming on and with a man of the match cameo performance, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Did you see the press that came out this week from the Norwegian press that basically he's requested to stay, that he wants to stay, he feels wanted, and they've offered him $100,000 a week or something? Did you see any of that?
I've said it, but I don't know how much attention you can pay to any reports in any media or in any country. But I'd love him. I'd love it if we could keep him. Certainly for another season on loan. So I think he's a superb player, and I really do. I think when he was coming, the idea of him and Partey with ESR in the hole in front of them was muted, and I think Mike's right. I think it's something that you could look at. Certainly, as we move through the season, if we get a bit nearer the end of the league games, and it's quite obvious that we're not going to get into Europe through the league by that point, then why not have a bit of an experiment? But I certainly think in the Europa League he's got to stick to one thing and try and get us into the final, and let's win it.
Yeah. Well, if we can get a run going like we have in the Premier League, and if other teams can implode a little bit like we have and other teams have, then like Arteta says, you never know. It just takes 3 or 4 bad games.
Go on. Oh, sorry.
Dav's watching the other game.
Sorry.
Dav, who's your man of the match?
It's the fella that scored the winner for, well, hopefully the winner for Zagreb. To be honest with you.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah, that's probably.
Well, it's not over yet. We got.
I think
there's a minute and 15 seconds left. Oh no, they're on the attack.
I think.
No. Oh, get it out. I'm gonna mute myself, boys. I mean, I'll be back once this is all over.
This is like listening to Karen Carney.
Okay.
Mike, you have a man of the match?
Yeah. Well, Gav does have a point. I think that the same dude for Zagreb scored a hat-trick here. But on the Arsenal note, there were 3 players. Xhaka had a good game, better than most. The other 2, Leno and Ødegaard. Leno, that big save early changed the game. I think it would have been a lot more nervy, so you've got to give him credit. Again, that's his speciality, isn't it? Saving shots that other goalkeepers wouldn't save. He's outstanding, isn't he? With his reflexes, I think that's his best quality. And Ødegaard, I think as Mark was saying, just calmed everything down and gave us that technical security and got us back in possession, making smart choices, never loses the ball. So pick one of those, huh?
Right, okay. I'd probably go with personally Xhaka. I think he was really stable. And Mark's having a bit of a chuckle.
No, I think the Zagreb game's over, mate, and I think it's finished.
Sweet
Spurs are out.
Caroline.
Bye bye,
hero, dear.
Bye bye, Yids. That's literally.
Oh, bloody hell.
But
Icing
Mark, you
on the
brought up
cake.
something interesting about Partey. Giving away those free kicks. In dangerous areas right at the end. He also has this weird tendency, like in the last few games, where he just seems to want to hang on to the ball for too long and turns into trouble and thinks he can kind of get his way out of that. I hope that's not something permanent, because he wasn't like that in the beginning. He seemed to be the opposite, got us out of trouble rather than getting us into trouble. So that was a little bit weird. All right, moving on from man of the match, let's go to weakest link. But I think we probably all will go with the guy up front. I reckon that's my.
I think we might as well not even discuss that.
Yeah, we move on.
Yeah.
We move on. Okay, so sorry, this game is in
Zagreb. It looks lovely. Absolutely.
Gav, that Zagreb team have the identical uniform to my team. So I'm somehow going to take some credit for what's happened over there. It looks like my school team has just beaten Tottenham.
Well, that's always a good thing, right?
Oh, that's lovely. Absolutely lovely.
Lovely. Okay, so that brings us to the headlight, which is basically if it seems like Tottenham are out, who else has gone out? Does that make it easier for us? Do you think we might?
It definitely makes it easier for us, because now we other than playing maybe United, you haven't got the kind of the mental pressure of playing a North London derby European tie. That would be horrendous.
Yeah.
Quarter-final, semi-final, or playing them in the final, it would be absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, but tonight they would bottle it though. They always bottle it. They
might do. Yeah, they might do, Gav, and then again they might not. It might be us that bottles it. Is
and if they didn't, then we'd have that hanging over our head forever.
Yeah, exactly. So I think them being out for just is good. I mean, it's great because we can have a laugh at them and Jennus, but I don't think you'd want to be playing them, to be fair.
So what teams are left in the competition?
Glasgow Rangers and Man United. I think they're playing. Glenn Hoddle's in the studio.
Zagreb.
Yeah, Glenn Hoddle's in the studio, and he looks so miserable. I do hate him. He probably done something bad in his former life.
At the moment, you're looking at Ajax. You're looking at Ajax and Villarreal are going through. Rangers are losing, so that's not great. And of the games earlier on, I think was it Mulder or Granada, one of them. I mean, ideally, you want Mulder, Granada, whichever one of them went through. I think it was Granada. You want Granada or you want Dinamo Zagreb, dare I say? But let's not be disrespectful to those teams. They're in the quarterfinals, so they're no mugs. But it would be nice to play them rather than say Milan or United or Villarreal, definitely.
Yeah, I think
Milan or Man United are going out. So it's whoever wins that game are the ones to avoid, really, I think.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone know, this has always bugged me, the reasoning, why would the teams that have fucked up the Champions League but got a chance to play in that competition, why did they drop into the Europa? I've never really understood.
Ridiculous
money.
It's all the only thing.
It's trying to get the better teams on TV, Paul. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just seems so stupid to me. Just
and then
I'm sick of the teams dropping in and winning it. Because it's like, you made it into the Champions League and you got twatted by Bayern Munich 10-2. So fuck off now. Don't come and win the tallest dwarf competition, because that's the Europa. It's like the tallest. World's tallest dwarf. It's not exactly like something to be.
And you got a third competition next year with even lower sort of tiered teams. So,
so the teams that get into that, like if we got 7th in the Premier League, is that the competition?
Yeah, I think so.
Shit,
I think so.
It
could be. Yeah.
It's like Snakes and Ladders, where you got that big snake at like number 99, and it drops all the way down to the bottom.
You probably have to play your first qualifier in like the first week of July. Probably April 15th. 7 knockout rounds to get through. So headlights. We talked a little bit about the Europa League and who we'd like to face. But first up, we've got West Ham coming up this weekend. Mike, any thoughts about that game?
Yeah.
Predictions?
Training field. I think perfect time. Players are going to be tired, and so maybe there should be more focus on finishing than there should be on organisation. I think the players know what they're doing organisationally, and that's what I would look to do, because that's been a recurring theme. About a month ago, or before that, a couple of months ago, we had no creativity and we were struggling to create anything. Now we're creating a solid, 3 to 5 really good chances a game, but not finishing the majority of them. And so I feel like that is the improvement, not just Aubameyang, it's squad wide, isn't it? Even the technical players like Ødegaard and Partey are putting too much power behind them and lacking accuracy, which is my observation there. So that's what I'm looking for first. I think if you heal that, then with our better defensive structure and we're looking a lot better going forward creatively, I think that you start to look to win these games and go on quite a decent sized run, and maybe you win the Europa League. But you're not going to be able to do that if you can't put the ball in the net.
Right. Just by mentioning the fact that our finishing has been so shit, it does point out something that I think is a positive to take from the last 3 or 4 months, is that our defence has generally seemed pretty. It sounds like Gavin's being flushed down the toilet or something. Is that our defence seems to be pretty solid? We're not conceding a lot from set pieces. Although, sorry, I did mean to bring this up. We have a set piece coach, right? Apparently. Gav, what did you think of the set pieces tonight? Well, there was the first one where we swung a short corner around to Bellerin, because obviously he's our mystery
tallest player
attacking force. Oh no, that was the next corner where we took a corner and Bellerin's the only guy in the 6-yard box trying to hit.
That was strange, wasn't it? What was he doing there?
Yeah, let's be honest. We don't. We scored the other week from a corner against Olympiacos, wasn't it? So they're not that. Our major problem the whole season with our set pieces, especially the taking of corners, is the fact the ball doesn't go over the first man. But then you speak to anybody who follows any other club, and they say exactly the same thing. The problem, we'd be good at corners if the ball went over the first man. So that's almost like a universal problem. The messing about we do with short corners and all that, and often sometimes going back to the halfway line. I don't get that. I don't think there's ever going to be, the complete set. I mean, the best we ever was at set pieces and actually taking the corners was when we done the Steve Bold near post flick, and we had probably a season or two of doing that where we scored decent goals. We scored decent numbers doing that, but since then our corners have been crap, and most clubs' corners are crap. It's just how it is.
Kind of is how it is. Well, we've got you on the line. What do you think about West Ham? What are your predictions for the game, Gav, coming up?
See, after the vermin, this is the one I don't look forward to, because unfortunately I've got a few mates who support West Ham, so there's always a lot of ribbon and piss taking on this one, which the majority of the time I come out on top. But you still don't. But there's always going to be the time when you don't, and you blinking get it. I think West Ham have been pretty organised the last couple of months. To be fair, they're not where they are in the league at a fluke. They could probably do with us being a bit more clinical up front sometimes, but they're well organised. They're a tough team. Moyes has got them playing a little bit of football here and there as well. So yeah, I mean, I think we honestly go into the game as slight underdogs. Because I mean, the league table don't lie. So yeah, it's one of those. Hopefully, we've rested the legs of enough players today and tonight. Look, we can come out and be a bit fresh, and you know what's going to happen. Everybody and their dog has slaved off a banging, and they'll go forwards against West Ham and score a brace. We know what's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? They play well, exactly. So what we'll do? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so that's my thoughts. I'd almost take a draw.
You'd take a draw, but you'd hope.
I wouldn't like to say that because it's blinking West Ham, but I'm almost at the point at the moment where I'd probably take a draw if it was offered.
Okay. Mark?
I think it's going to be a tough game. I mean, they've had a week off. We've put a lot of effort in tonight. Saka, it depends really. Was Saka rested, or is Saka, feeling those knocks? Hated seeing him get called up for England. I don't give a shit about any of our players playing internationals. I only want them to play for the Arsenal. So I think it could be quite tough. So I'd say it's going to be a draw. But let's hope we can actually do what we've been doing and catching teams by surprise and actually getting ahead and sticking with it. So onto the Hammers on Sunday lunchtime. Yeah.
Okay, Mike, you didn't really get to do a prediction. Sorry, you just gave me your thoughts.
Sure.
I think we're going to draw.
Sure. No, I think that it won't be a comfortable win. It'll be one of those close games. I think we're going to go ahead 1-0 early, and then I think we're actually going to run away with it late. I don't know why I'm being so specific, but I've got a feeling it's going to be one of those 3-0 games that doesn't feel like a 3-0. Feels like, oh man, we could have lost that one. Could have been a draw, but they're going to push late, and we're going to catch them on the counter attack. So I'm going to say 3-0 Arsenal, and off the back of saying that we're not very good at finishing, so that makes no sense whatsoever, right?
So, okay, who do you think's going to score?
I think Willie Young might get one post.
He's starting, right?
Yeah, Willie Young. I think he's going to solve all of our problems. But no, I think we're going to have. Let me say, I think Thomas Partey's going to score his first goal. I think that David Luiz will score and Gabriel.
And then at half time, aliens will land in the centre circle.
Exactly.
Oh Jesus, yeah. Mike! I know you don't normally drink, mate, but so I've got to ask: have you been drinking?
No, I've just had my spring water, Gav. And honestly, though, David Luiz and Gabriel are probably more likely than the current crop we've got up front, anyway, aren't they? So.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, mate.
I think we're going to go one down because that's kind of what we do, and then we're going to squeeze back a couple at the end. I think this is our chance to just start notching up some points and and let everyone else around us crumble as we make it into Champions League via the league.
Oh God! And
How
you've
cool would
been
that be?
drinking gin, haven't you?
No, not tonight, Gav. I'm actually drinking Monkey Shoulder. It's a whiskey.
Oh,
it's very
okay.
good.
Monkey jizz.
Oh,
Is that what it's made of?
I don't know, mate. It just sounds, horse placenta for you.
no wonder you're smiling.
No, it's thanks, Gav. That's nice. I don't know what you've been slurping all night, but anyway. So, folks, I think that's about. We've milked this one dry. It's been speaking of monkey jizz. It's been great having you in the pub. This is becoming more and more pubbish every week. So thanks for joining us, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Gav.
Oh, I hate Tottenham. Fucking hate Tottenhm.
Tottenham. Mark, thanks for being here.
Cheers, mate.
And I think on that beautiful singing voice, we're gonna stick to some of my music. Thanks, guys. Up the Gunners.